What up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of AC Reviews the World. It is episode 30, and I am your host, AC the Engineer. Now, you already know we got to give it a round of applause for all that. Now, I hope everybody's having a good weekend and got something fun planned or just relaxing. That's what I'm going to do. Mostly relax, video editing, and hey, just clean. That's what I usually do on the weekends, and relax. So hopefully everybody's going to have a good time and enjoy their weekend. Or if you got to go to work, hey, go get that money. You can't knock nobody trying to go get that money, man. Can't knock nobody trying to go get that money. But it is Saturday, August 16th, and it is 8 a.m. So, hey, or like I always say, no matter if it's the weekday or the weekend, I'm still getting up early. I was up around 6 a.m., man, just getting stuff ready for the live stream and just relaxing, doing a little reading. But what time do y'all usually get up on the weekends, man? You the type to sleep in on the weekends, or you the type to... I've been getting up early all my life, ever since my mama used to make me catch the bus, so I'll be up 6, 7 is usually the latest I'll be getting up. Unless I've, for some reason, stayed up crazy last night. But that's a very rare occasion. But we got a couple of things to go over today. Too. I don't know if we'll have that long of a show. I don't know if it'll be 2 hours, but probably a little bit under it. But we got the Emory University shooting over by the CDC headquarters. Got we got a couple videos about juvenile crime. It's out of control. Need to be in school. Got an invasive tick species that's got some health concerns that might come with it. You got a teen pilot influencer stranded in Antarctica. So there's a lot of crazy things. We got to talk about today. But hey, we got to get through it. And you know what? No matter what we're talking about, and all the crazy things that happen in the world, we got to review the world together. That's my saying. We have to review the world together. But without further ado, let's get right into it. The first thing we're going to be talking about today is the Emory University shooting. Yes, we're going to be talking about the Emory University shooting. It looks like Atlanta police officer was killed, and we got another video after this to talk about, because it looks like more details have come out about it. But let's get right into it and see what it's talking about.
Atlanta and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention left shaken after a deadly shooting. Authorities say a gunman opened fire near Emory University, just outside the CDC headquarters, late yesterday afternoon, with at least 4 buildings struck by gunfire. DeKalb County police officer David Rose was fatally injured while responding to the scene. The 33-year-old was a married father of 2 with a third child on the way.
Okay, hold on. Every time, is it just me, or is it every single time we get an officer who's died in the field of doing their duty? They are heroes, so we're not gonna knock their being heroes, but every single time they have a pregnant wife waiting at home for them. Jesus, man. We got to pray for the family, of course. But this is probably about 6 days ago, a week ago. But hopefully, the wife is going through it, but hopefully she can make it through.
Dave Malkoff is in Atlanta with the very latest. Dave, good morning.
Good morning. A really tough day for the Atlanta community, especially in law enforcement. This is the CDC right behind me. The windows were hit with rapid gunfire with people inside there. We're told the gunfire actually came from the CVS pharmacy across the street. On the second floor is where they found the gunman shot dead. Not sure if he was shot by police or if he shot himself. An alert sent to the Emory University community was crystal clear. Run, hide, fight.
First reaction is to freak out because something was telling me not to leave the hospital, and I left, and then to see this. But very shocking.
Police say a man opened fire near the school, hitting several buildings at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention headquarters.
I heard what I at first thought was maybe construction, people doing roofing work, but the reports just kept coming, and I kind of grew up around guns, and you figure out pretty quickly that this is not a hammer that you're listening to.
Police say when it was all over, the gunman and 33-year-old DeKalb County officer David Rose were both dead.
We don't have any civilians that have been shot in this active shooter incident. Thank God for that.
Officers responding to the incident heard gunshots at a nearby drugstore.
We later found the shooter on the second floor of the CPS. He had been struck by gunfire. We do not know at this time whether that was from officers or if it was self-inflicted.
More than 90 children who are at a CDC daycare are all safe.
90 children.
Now, all of those children were reunited with their parents. They were standing out here on the street for a while. Let's talk about Officer David Rose. He had just joined the force less than a year ago here in DeKalb County. He was a father. He had a baby on the way. And right now, he is being mourned by all of the law enforcement community. And Adriana, the FBI, the GBI, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, and also the Atlanta Police Department are all working together to figure out what this crime was and why this man started shooting at the CDC across the street.
All right, Dave, thank you so much. Those details are so hard.
Now, is it the same case of the dude who, the health insurance CEO? Is that the same case? But let's get over into the next video where they break down a little bit more of new details of what they found. So let's get right over into that and see what it's talking about.
Some new details on the shooting at CDC headquarters in Atlanta, where 33-year-old police officer David Rose was killed last week. He was a father of two, had a third child on the way, working on the police force just a few months, previously serving as a Marine in the U.S. Marine Corps with a deployment to Afghanistan.
All right, first thing, like I said before, this man was a hero. He was doing his job. And you never expect what day will be your last, especially when you're working in some kind of high violence, like police officers, firefighters, anything like that. You never know what day could be your last. And it's truly sad that we lost someone like this. His parents are going, I'm not his parents, but his children will grow up without a father, especially that baby that's on the way. But we just hopefully the mother is just going to have to let the son know, or the son or daughter know, that their father was a hero. But let's keep going into this.
His mother says David was fearless, strong, and a go-getter, always there for anyone in need.
That's my son. He will step in front of them again. If you line them up again and say, this is what's going to happen, he would say, well, someone has to do it.
Senior
That's a
correspondent
hero
Jonathan
right there.
Seri following this tragic story live from Atlanta. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi there, Martha. An incredibly sad story. The medical examiner confirms that Officer Rose did indeed die from injuries from one of the gunman's weapons, and that the gunman died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. That gunman, 30-year-old.
So he killed himself after doing this. Golly, man. There's some sick people in this world and cowards at the same time. Go up and shoot, and then, oh my God. Absolutely crazy. But we can see his
Patrick Joseph White had no prior gunman. 30-year-old Patrick Joseph White had no prior criminal history. But he was no stranger to police because of prior suicide threats. On the day of the shooting, the gunman's father called police asking to speak with an officer he had dealt with before.
He has been involved with last summer with some problems that we had with my adult son, and I'm very worried that he might have been involved in this shooting today.
Investigators say the gunman fired more than 500 shots, striking buildings on the CDC campus nearly 200 times.
A search warrant executed at the residence of the shooter revealed written documentation that expressed the shooter's discontent with the COVID-19 vaccinations.
A union representing federal health workers is calling on CDC and HHS leadership to condemn vaccine disinformation, which it says is putting scientists at risk.
Hold on. Let me say something. It is the middle of the year, or past the middle of the year, 2025. Why are people still upset about what had happened in 2020 when the vaccines came out? They are still upset and going to shoot up the CDC? Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
An exclusive interview with Fox News Monday, HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy reiterated some of his controversial views on vaccines, but pledged transparency to rebuild public trust.
We need to tell Americans what we do know and what we don't know about these products. And that's what we're trying to do.
And Martha, Secretary Kennedy offered assurances to CDC employees that HHS is doing everything it can to ensure their safety. Back to you.
Now, we have to back it up now. Come on now. Got to back it up. We got to look at the face, man. We know we have to look at this man's face. Adult 30-year-old man who already had suicidal thoughts. Sounds like to me, I might be if I'm mistaken, but it sounds like he already had prior suicidal thoughts. Angry at the CDC headquarters because of the COVID-19 vaccinations. I wonder why. Oh my God. But he's angry at the CDC and then shoots at the CDC 500 times with 200 shots hitting the building, not caring who he hit. Not caring who he killed. He obviously didn't care. He killed that officer. God, man. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. And then he took his own life. Took his own life. There's some, I don't know if you can chalk this up to mental health, but a lot of people will chalk this up to mental health. I don't know if he was just not in... The old school way of saying it, not in the right mind, but that's absolutely crazy to me. I don't understand why people are still getting upset over vaccinations from 2020. What, 2021? And it's 2025 now? But only one person has lost his life. And like I said before, we have to, we gotta pray for his family. He was doing his job, trying to protect people, and lost his life in the line of duty. He's a hero. He is a hero. You never know when you're working in these kind of situations, and you're striving to be the officer, the policeman that the city needs. You never know when it can be your last day. So we gotta pray. We gotta pray for his family. Pray for that they get everything that they need. Hopefully his wife is all right because all that stress while she's pregnant. Godly. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Let's go through and hear. Where's his father talking one more time?
Officer he had dealt with before.
He has been involved with last summer with some problems that we had with my adult son, and I'm very worried that he might have been involved in this shooting today.
The father knew he had an idea of what his son could possibly do. Golly, man. He had to have talked about his hatred of the CDC. He had to. But I'm trying to understand. Well, you're never going to understand. I could never understand what's going through the minds of this kind of person. But, golly, man. Absolutely crazy. That is a wild situation. And it's sad that a hero had to lose his life because someone was upset at the CDC. Absolutely crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. Tell me your thoughts. There's no one to put behind bars because he ended up taking his own life, but golly, tell me your thoughts on that whole situation. What do you think he was upset? What about the vaccine made him upset? Was it the mandatory having to take it? Was it the lockdowns? What made him so upset that he would fire 500 shots at the CDC headquarters near Emory University? Absolutely crazy. And I mean, if you believe in God and hell, you know, we all know where he's going. We all know where he's going. But hey, well, man, I'm not gonna say anything else. But tell me your thoughts. Leave me in comments. Tell me if you disagree with any of the things I said. Remember, this is always a show where we want to be able to discuss what is being said and what we're looking at, because we don't want to live in an echo chamber. We don't want to live in an echo chamber where people just agree. If you agree with what we say, yeah, you're fine. But if you disagree, tell me why you disagree, and reasonably. Come on now, we got to be reasonable, intellectual people. That is what the world and people need to have more in this world for us to have these types of discussions. But we're going to pivot now. We're going to pivot now into babyface car thieves. Yes, I said it. Babyface car thieves. We got some little kids. I don't know how old yet because we haven't gone through it, but we got some babyface car thieves. 2 young kids accused of stealing the car. I guess they look up to the Kia boys. But let's get right into it.
Video tonight that you have to see to believe. Thanks for joining us. I'm Chris Fry. 2 children joyriding in a stolen car. They even smiled for the camera, also showing off. Michelle Nix has the story.
Just when you thought you've seen it all, slam on the brakes, because kids, young kids, have been charged with stealing a car and caught on camera driving it. And you guessed it, the car is a Kia.
Come on now. The Kias, their whole operational system has been madly, like, just from the Kia boys. Yeah, no, that has turned so many people off of getting Kias. And kids are getting, it seems like people are committing crimes at younger and younger ages. Why is that? Is it social media? Is it the parents that are less and less disciplining their kids? Come on now. What are the kids doing? Where are the parents? Do the parents know where their kids are? Now remember, we just did a video on one of the towns, a certain town that is thinking about charging and fining the parents of these young kids who keep committing these bad behaviors or keep committing these criminals, these young kid criminals. But tell me your thoughts, but let's keep going into this.
A driver spots a stolen silver Kia in the area of Ridge Road and Memphis. In the driver's seat and riding as the front seat passenger, suspected baby-faced car thieves, joyriding at a single mother's expense.
I actually had come outside for work with my daughter in one arm and went to go to my car to go take her to the babysitters and go off to work, and it wasn't there.
Elissa Basil of Brooklyn, who owns the Kia, said she even kept pressing the button on her key fob, thinking maybe she parked in the wrong parking spot.
No Kia now.
But hours later, her friend texted a Ring camera notification about her car.
I had said that about 10 to 12 years old, kid in a red shirt crashed a silver Kia. I just learned that they are children. They are babies. They just need better guidance, honestly.
Man, 10 to 12, already committing car theft, joyriding, crashing vehicles. What did I say before? I say this all the time. Big boy crimes need big boy time. It's no need. I don't want no slap on the wrist. You got to teach these kids you got to punish the crime appropriately. It doesn't matter the age of the child. If they are old enough to understand what right from wrong is, then they need to be old enough to take that punishment. Absolutely crazy. Let's keep going.
The Kia found crashed and abandoned near St. Theodosius Cemetery after it was stolen around 4 a.m. on Wednesday by the pint-sized thieves.
The whole back window's busted out.
He can barely see over the window.
Door handles ripped off. My rims busted. My tires busted. And whatever underside damage. It's not drivable as of now. Thankfully, they didn't crash it into a pole or didn't get injured. So I guess that is the one benefit to that.
The 2 child suspects are now facing serious charges, according to Elissa, and they include grand theft and receiving stolen property.
Good.
As Brooklyn police continue the investigation, Elissa has found out the anti-theft system on her Kia apparently doesn't work, and she just hopes these children have found out
They need to change their ways before they become adults, and it turns into a lifestyle at that point.
The car's owner tells me she will ask for restitution in this case because she says these young kids need to learn that things don't come cheap and they don't come easy. I'm Michelle Nix reporting.
Simple as that. They need to be punished. You got these two little, see, they blurred out their face because they're kids. They blurred out their face because they're kids, which is understandable. But first of all, I'm not getting a Kia. The Kia boys have ruined Kias for me. I think for a lot of Americans, the Kia boys have ruined Kias. First of all, they was talking about you can start it up with a USB, and then young kids, what did they say, 10 and 12? That's what she assumed their ages was. I don't know if we have an official age on it yet, but oh my God, absolutely crazy. The kids need to be punished. What did I say? Big boy crimes need big boy time. It's simple as that. But look, let's see if we can. Let's see if they have any information. You know, Google is our friend, y'all. Google is our friend. So let's jump right over into it and see if I can find any more information and news articles that bring it up more. Let's see. Okay, the only article, but I think it's about the same people. Yep, same people. Anything different in this article? Let me see. Nope. So yeah, nothing else. They haven't released the ages or anything like that, but yeah. Well, what do y'all think should happen? What do you think should happen to the children? To the two kids who are stealing cars? The parents obviously don't know where they are. They probably got released on bond, of course, with their parents right now. Hopefully the parents are punishing them. But if the parents don't even know where they are, I mean, they might not even be punishing them. And is it learned behavior? Is it learned behavior that they learned from their parents? Or are these just kids that have learned it from the neighborhood? Is the neighborhood raising them? The bad neighborhood they're in raising them? Or are they just bad kids? I don't know. But like I said before, the town, I don't go back and look at that video. The town is trying to charge and fine parents for children who constantly and repeatedly commit crimes. Do you think that'd be a good idea? Would it cause more parents to be in their lives? I don't know, but hey, like I said, I'm happy they're being charged. They're sounding like they're going to get charged for grand larceny and everything like that. Hopefully it's not just a slap on the wrist, but it probably will be because they're juveniles. And you know they're juvenile. They're not going to, because you can't, if it's not anything like crazy, they're not going to charge them as an adult. Unless they like stole the car and hit and killed somebody. But no, they just stole the car, crashed it. But hopefully that them being punished will cause them to have a new lease on life. Will it? I doubt it. Be honest, I doubt it. I don't know, but I'm doubting it. But tell me your thoughts, everybody. Tell me your thoughts. Do you think that they will learn from their mistakes? Do you think that they will learn from their mistakes? Or are they just going to come back and commit more crimes? Yeah, leave your thoughts in your comments, or like I said, tell me if you disagree with any of the things I said. Tell me if you disagree with any of the things I said. But we got some more. We got to go into another juvenile case. A 13-year-old was arrested again, I believe was arrested again, but he has 18 prior felony arrests. Yes, I said it right. A 13-year-old has 18 prior felony arrests. Oh my God. Some kids are, I don't want to say crazy, but some kids need to be punished, man. 18 felony arrests? That's absolutely crazy. But let's jump right into it and see what it's talking about.
Tonight, Baltimore police say that they've arrested a 13-year-old in connection with the spree of violent crime, targeting 3 locations in a 2-day period last month. The teen has 18 prior felony arrests and was wearing an ankle monitor when he was arrested this time.
Oh, my God.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Kai Jackson. This arrest comes as Baltimore City leaders tout a reduction in violent crime. They're pushing back on President Trump's claim that Baltimore is too far gone because of crime. Some residents argue, though, the numbers don't tell the full story and say the mayor's message is disconnected from how they truly feel.
We have the fewest amount of homicides through this date on record. That's 50 years, a 50-year low. Maybe we are too far gone from the broken right-wing policies of zero-tolerance policing and all the things that did not make our city safer.
We need help. Yeah. Get the mayor to do his job.
People don't even go out at night anymore. They don't want to walk to the park. Our business district does not service the residents of Federal Hill.
Well, so hold on. Let's just break that down now. So the mayor is saying one thing, but the residents, now they didn't talk to all the residents, of course, but some of the residents are saying something differently. That they can't even go out at night. That the business district or the entertainment district is people are scared to go out at night because something is going to happen. Absolute crazy. Now tell me, do you think the mayor is telling the truth? Or some people are saying that a lot of these states or any kind of state is padding lowering the actual records and not actually telling the full story of what's happening. But let's
A recent attack caught on video involving mopeds in Canton has some residents on edge. And tonight we're learning the two suspects are undocumented immigrants in the country illegally with possible ties to MS-13. We're also hearing from a Curtis Bay woman who demanded action from Mayor Scott after she says crime impacted her ability to sell her home. She says the mayor's response was out of touch. Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor and Jeff A. will have those stories in a moment. But our team coverage begins with Keith Daniels and this string of violent crime in Baltimore connected to a 13-year-old suspect. Keith?
Well, Kai, according to police, this boy is no stranger to law enforcement, so young with an extensive record that includes felonies out on the streets. But tonight, he's arrested again, accused of more violent crimes. Investigators say there were several armed carjackings and robberies, a string of incidents, including on at least 2 days in July. Tonight, news of an arrest, a 13-year-old boy charged with carjacking, robbery, assault, and several other offenses. Police say when the boy was arrested, he was wearing a home ankle monitor. The suspect, apparently, already under the supervision of the Department of Juvenile Services. A young offender, police say, with 18 previous felony arrests in Baltimore City.
Oh, come on now. Let's be honest. Now, if you are 13 years old with 18 previous felony arrests, at what point are you going to be charged as an adult? Come on now. At what point are you going to be charged as an adult? If the kid is constantly committing crimes, he's on an ankle monitor. It's obviously not working. I don't know what they're thinking, but it's not working. 18 previous felony arrests? Come on now. What are we doing here? What are we doing? Absolutely crazy. And the parents? Where are the parents? At this point, the parents should be charged. 18 and he's 18 felony arrests and he's 13 years old. Come on now. That's more arrests than years he's been alive. Come on now. That's absolutely crazy. There's no sense in this. Now tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong, because I want to understand if I'm totally mistaken. And the parents should not be held responsible for this. At least that's my thinking. But tell me if I'm wrong. Let's keep going into this.
Arrest in Baltimore City. His case.
Come to find out, 3 of them had ankle monitors on.
Disturbingly familiar to Kamaya Lawson and her husband David. The couple, the victims of a carjacking in Hamden, July 1st. That crime caught on camera. The 5 suspects in that case, also juveniles.
Now, we got to back that up now. Come on now. Hold on. Where is that at? Come on now. Don't run from it. We got to see where. There it is. 13, 14, 14, 15, and 17. Now, first of all, the 17-year-old, absolutely crazy. But 13? I said this before. Seems like younger and younger kids are committing more crimes. Is it the parents? Or is it just their neighborhood that they're in? We just did a video the other day of a 12-year-old getting 40 years. 40 years for committing murder. Absolutely crazy.
Juveniles. 3 of them, police say, were also wearing ankle monitors. Another example of juveniles released only to reoffend. Lawson frustrated over what's happening.
I heard about like the diversion program that they've been having with youths. Basically, they're going in and coming out and going in and coming out without any consequence. And I'm like, what's the point?
In this latest case, police say a woman was carjacked at about 5:30 a.m. on July 27th on East Lanville Street near Hargrove Street. A dark-colored sedan pulled in front of her. 3 suspects jumped out, demanded her keys and wallet, then drove off in her car while the other vehicle followed. Later that same day, police responded to Madison Avenue, where a woman told officers she'd been robbed at about 5 a.m. that morning on East 24th Street. Suspects in a black sedan rolled up. 3 suspects jumped out with a gun, took her purse and her house keys. July 28th, police say they obtained the suspect's vehicle tag number, located the vehicle, then ultimately identified one of the suspects, the 13-year-old boy, by using his home ankle monitor GPS system, which police say placed him at each incident.
They have no real consequence. Because if you have an ankle monitor on, you don't care that you're at the location, GPS location of a crime, because you're going to get diverted and you're going to go in and you're going to come right back out and you're going to do it again.
Exactly.
Well, police say this investigation is ongoing. They're trying to identify the other individuals involved. Meantime, police did not give details about the suspect's 18 prior felony offenses, and getting information about those cases can be challenging because of the state laws that protect juveniles. We're live tonight. Keith Daniels.
Come on now. Come on. If he's committing crimes with an ankle monitor on, he's committed, oh my God. They said he committed several crimes with the ankle monitor on. He obviously does not care and has no fear of punishment. Yeah, man. You can't be too soft on crime when kids are constantly breaking the laws and are being criminals. Come on now, we gotta be. We have to do our proper thinking on this situation. We have to do some proper thinking on this situation. If a kid is constantly getting arrested, 18 prior felonies, he's in and out of juvenile because they got the slap on the wrist policy. And he's under house arrest with the ankle monitor on. He leaves the house and goes and robs a few people, armed robs a few people. You cannot put him back on the streets. I don't care how young he is. You cannot put him back on the streets. He does not need to be with regular people. It's as simple as that. I don't care how old he is. He does not need to be with regular people. Absolutely crazy. Tell me your thoughts, everybody. Tell me your thoughts. Should he be with the adults? At this point, should he be with the adults? Maybe you get away with one. Maybe you get away with one as a 13-year-old. But 18? 18 prior. We don't know what the arrests were, but felony arrest is serious. That is serious. At 18 of them, and then you still robbing people with the ankle monitor? Yeah, nah. Put him in jail with adults. Charge him as an adult. Absolutely crazy, y'all. That is absolutely crazy situation. And what are we gonna do? Well, we ain't gonna what we are gonna do. What what is the city going to do? Are they going to keep letting this happen? Are they going to keep letting, because he was smug. He's got to be smug about it, because he's got an ankle monitor on and he does not care, and he's still robbing people at gunpoint, not caring what's going to happen. He does not care about the laws, does not care about punishment. At that point, yep, send him away. Send him away. Let's be honest, let's send him away. Now, he needs to be in school. I don't know what he's doing, but we got to talk about the schools too. So we're going to pivot over into a superintendent. A superintendent is making a salary of $500,000. And that's, I don't know about y'all, but I don't know no superintendents making $500,000 now. Now, they always say the teachers and schooling people do not get paid enough, but I don't think the superintendent's supposed to make $500,000. I don't. So let's jump right over into it and see what it's talking about and see why hopefully they tell us why he's making that much money. Let's get into it.
Now, NBC5 investigates a local public school superintendent who's made more than $500,000 a year paid by the taxpayers of South Suburban Dalton and Riverdale. And according to census data, people who live in those communities make on average 1/10 of what they're paying this superintendent.
So what have they gotten for all this money they've paid? Here's Regina Waldrop joining us live. Regina.
Alex, Allison, NBC5 Investigates started asking questions about this superintendent a few weeks ago. In a letter dated today, he submitted his resignation.
Running away.
My name is Dr. Kevin J. Nolte, Superintendent of Schools.
Kevin Nolte has been with Dalton School District 148 for 9 years. In that time, his salary and benefits have nearly doubled to more than $500,000 for this past school year. He's paid more than any other public school superintendent in Illinois, even more than most of the presidents of Illinois.
Hold on. We got to see. They just put up some facts. Let's see what they're talking about. $500,000. So they still make a crazy amount of money. The board. Okay. What is this? $482,000? So yeah, they make some money now. But why did he...
Public universities. But during Nolte's time in charge, the Illinois State Board of Education says the Dalton district finances have steadily gotten worse, to the point where the state put the district on its watch list, the only district in Cook County that currently has this lowest rating. That didn't keep the school board from giving Nolte another raise of $60,000 over the next 2 years in a raucous session this past March.
Wow. Oh, my God. It's not going to end well.
Residents there spoke up.
$500,000? This district is on financial watch with the state. I don't know if you all knew that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Financial watch. Why are we considering such an amount?
We have been asking that same question with no response from anyone until this afternoon.
When you care about your community, you ask the hard questions. You ask the questions that you need answers to. If the district is already on financial watch, why are we increasing his salary? Is $500,000 not enough? Is $500,000 not enough? And if it's not enough, you need to change your breakdown and your finances. You got to change them.
When Nolte's attorney reached out to say that Nolte resigned from his job effective today, his attorney saying in part because school board members had launched a smear campaign against him, riddled with baseless accusations. Keep in mind, this is not the first time that Nolte has had issues with the school districts he's worked for. Like this. In 2012, the Lincolnwood School Board voted to dismiss Nolte from the job he had then as Lincolnwood's assistant superintendent for business. The district said Nolte failed to properly account for district funds, failed to make scheduled payments on 2 multi-million-dollar loans, which then defaulted, and failed to adequately account for $1.4 million in funds. Nolte said all the charges were false and politically motivated. He sued the district, but his case dismissed by the court.
Come on now. Come on now. Let's think about this. 2 different districts? There are 2 different districts where you messed up. You're not accounting for funds, probably stealing it. Well, we don't want to speak. We don't know for facts, but hey, we just got something we got to think about. Might have been stealing the money. Don't do your job properly. Then you go to another district and start making more money than anybody else, over 500,000, and then they're telling you to increase it to 60,000 more over 2 years. Absolutely crazy.
He then went to work for Harvey School District 152 in charge of business operations. It was there where NBC5 Investigates found, according to court records, that Nolte failed to inform the board of a transfer of $3.8 million out of the district's reserve funds. It's not clear where the money went, but the superintendent suspended Nolte with pay. The school board eventually brought him back, though he left a year later for Dalton. Now Nolte's former deputy superintendent in Dalton has filed a whistleblower lawsuit, saying she was fired earlier this year because she'd raised concerns related to fiscal mismanagement by Nolte, including his handling of $13 million of federal funds. Nolte has denied everything, saying the deputy superintendent was fired for cause. But over the past 2 decades, while Nolte oversaw finances for these and other school districts, NBC5 Investigates found he was dealing with personal financial issues as well. We found 8 lawsuits claiming that Nolte had not paid credit card bills and rent, totaling more than $52,000.
So that's why he needs that much money, because he can't handle his finances. It's as simple as that. He can't handle his finances. That's why he wanted that 500,000, and he's stealing millions. We don't know for sure, but you lose 1 point something million. Come on now, where's the money at? Let's be honest. Where is the money at? And then he resigns without notice, gone. Nah, man, something's fishy. Something's fishy. But hey, it's their school district, and obviously the higher ups or who was ever with them, they knew that all this was going on around him, and they still hired him.
He also found this foreclosure action, saying Nolte, with his then wife, hadn't made payments on their home's mortgage for a year and a half. Eventually, they paid off the mortgage when they sold the house. We also found this, an arrest by the Illinois State Police from March 2024 for driving under the influence of alcohol in the I-90 tollway near Belvedere. This past November, Nolte pled no contest, according to his attorney, of misdemeanor DUI in order to serve a year of supervision and probation. So his attorney says Nolte chose today to resign because he feels, quote, he has left the district in the best position with everything off to a good start. The attorney also attributes Nolte's high salary to his working both as the superintendent and the business officer. Nolte will most likely immediately start collecting his state-paid retirement, and we are filing a records request to find out how much he'll draw each year in pension money, and we'll let you know in a future story.
Yeah, because I'm assuming, because if I'm wrong, tell me, but the pension is based on how much he was making before. The pension is based on how much he was making before. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Golly. Now, tell me your thoughts. Tell me your thoughts on that whole situation. What is happening? Oh, hold on. Absolutely crazy. Golly. Let me pull up that. Now we got to get over into the next thing we're talking about, and it is, let me pull it up. Where is that thing at? We're going to get over into the invasive ticks. So it seems like some invasive ticks are happening, and they're worried about what's going to cause for the health. So let's get over into that and see what it's talking about. Where is my thing? But let's get over into it. Hold on, y'all. Having some technical difficulties. Let's get it right into it. There it is. Hold on. Got things happening. Oh. Hold on. Where is... There it is. Okay. Okay, let's get right into it, y'all. Maybe not. Jesus, what is happening? There it is. Okay, now let's get right into it. So we're looking at an invasive tick species. So let's jump over into it and see what we are talking about.
Every morning, Godard's Malai opens dozens of envelopes containing ticks mailed by bite victims. Malai is an entomologist on the lookout for longhorn ticks, an invasive species that, unlike other ticks, can reproduce itself through cloning. The tick is present in at least 21 states and is rapidly spreading across the eastern U.S.
Here is a female longhorn tick. As you can see, the body is reddish brown.
Scientists at Malai's lab at the Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station have identified an emerging bacteria in the longhorn tick for the first time. The pathogen can lead to ehrlichiosis, a tick-borne disease that causes symptoms such as fever, severe headaches, rash, and potentially death. Climate change, which is creating warmer and wetter conditions around the globe, is influencing how longhorn ticks transmit ehrlichiosis in places like Connecticut.
Because of climate change, we are having shorter winter months, and as a result, this tick doesn't need to do that much dormancy. It is active almost all year round, except for a few months.
So that means you're more likely to get bit. If you're bit, it's more likely to feed, and if it feeds, it's more likely to reproduce.
Correct.
From 2008 to 2018, Connecticut saw just 2 cases of ehrlichiosis. Now that number has jumped to almost 30. Nationwide, ehrlichiosis cases have increased 15-fold since 2001. Molai tested ticks for ehrlichiosis by grinding them down and then extracting their DNA. That DNA sample is amplified and sequenced to find genetic material from Ehrlichia chaffiensis, one of the bacteria that causes the disease.
So you see the first hit is Ehrlichia chaffiensis.
Jennifer Platt, a public health expert studying tick-borne diseases, contracted ehrlichiosis in 2011.
I felt like death. I felt horrible, like severe weakness, malaise, no energy.
As cases...
So first thing I want to say is ticks are disgusting. I hate finding a tick on me when I'm out and about. Now, I had a discussion with my roommate before because he said he was adamant that ticks fall from trees, and we did the research on it. The majority, they said it's possible, but the majority of the time ticks just climb up. So if you find them in your hair, they just climb up your body. Now I might be wrong. If you have different experience, tell me. But that's absolutely crazy.
Rise in Connecticut, health officials last month shut down a Bridgeport beach for the rest of the season due to an influx of longhorn ticks and other tick species. How big is the risk for Connecticut residents and even beyond Connecticut borders?
The reality is right now we don't really know because this is a new tick that has come into our community. But we do know that risk from tick-borne diseases in general is something that we have to be aware of in Connecticut at all times.
Dr. John Torres joins me now. Dr. John, how soon could these symptoms actually arise?
And good afternoon, Morgan. And these things can actually start 1 to 2 weeks after the tick bite. And they usually start off with mild symptoms, flu-like symptoms, fevers, muscle aches, kind of under the weather, but then they can progress to confusion and even a rash that children can get. 1 in 3 typically get this. It's a red splotchy rash, and then it can progress to more severe symptoms if not treated, Morgan.
And I mean, when we talk about the fact that, you know, we're all looking for ways to protect ourselves, but my question is bug repellent enough to protect us from this?
You know, bug repellent is certainly a good start, and it's one of the linchpins to try and protect yourself. But staying off of grassy areas, making sure you stay on the trails, wearing long sleeves and pants can help as well. And then the most important thing is tick checks. Every time you're outside, when you come back in, you, your children, and your pets, you need to check for ticks.
And so if you do get bitten, I mean, what sort of is the first step? What's the first thing you should do?
Get the tick off you.
So the very first thing you should do if you're bitten is take the tick off. You want to identify the tick. There's various ways you can do that. You can go online and Google how to identify it. And once you identify it, you'll know what it is possibly transmitting to you. You can go to your doctor and say, do I need to be treated for this? All of it depends on how long that tick's attached. For ehrlichiosis, we're talking around 24 hours of attachment to transmit it. So less than that, the sooner you get it off, the better, Morgan.
I grew up in Carolina. We were no strangers to ticks. I remember we used to take them off with tweezers, and then the common knowledge it was you either flushed it or you had to burn it. Do you still take them off with tweezers, or can you take them off with your hand?
No, you definitely take them off with tweezers, but you want to get down close to the skin and pull out gently. And then you do want to identify, you can take a picture of it before you dispose of it. And that way you can identify the tick and figure out what kind of diseases it might carry.
Okay, all right. Dr. John Torres giving us the new information, not just my Carolina hearsay. Appreciate it. Take care.
We thank you.
Absolutely. So, no. Got to be careful out there, y'all. You have to be careful. Let's see. They said it's been an increase, but yeah, tell me, is there ticks? Have y'all ever been? I know everybody who's all been outside have had a tick on them. At least majority of people. But what's the best way y'all found to remove it? Yeah, tweezers. Because the main thing you don't want is for their head, if they're biting you, is to be stuck in your arm or whatever body part it is, and then you get infection because of that. That is absolutely the last thing you want. But you heard what they said. The main thing is to get it off as soon as possible. Always do your tick checks. Always do especially if you're playing in long grass or you're walking in long grass. Check your dogs, your kids, anything like that. And then you want to take it off as fast as you can. As soon as you notice it, take it off. And then identify it. That's the key. Most people don't even think about that. Most people do not think to go through and try to identify the tick to see what possible things you could be exposed to, and then dispose of it. But what's the best way y'all to dispose of? I've always been told burn it. You set it on fire, that way it's gone. Or flush it. Yeah, but main thing I've always heard was burn it. In the Carolinas, yeah, that was what it's always been talked about. But yeah, let me know if you got any stories about a tick, your kids catching ticks, or you just not noticing it for a long time. Absolutely crazy, but we had to get into that because I saw that video and it was interesting. I wasn't expecting to see a new tick invasive species that's causing more problems. You got to be careful out there. You have to be careful when you're outside because you don't know what can happen. You don't know what kind of animal or tick, or you never, especially in some of these areas with the snakes and ticks and any kind of these crazy. Oh my God, absolutely crazy. But let me know your thoughts and tell me what you think of it. Tell me what you think of it. But now we got to pivot. We got to pivot over into a teen influencer pilot. Y'all probably seen him. He said he's gonna be the only one solo flying around the world for cancer research. For some reason, he had to do an emergency stop, and the emergency stop was in Antarctica, and one of the islands in Antarctica. And because of that, he had to end up being arrested or being taken to jail. And hey, let's get right into it and see what it all talking about so we can break down the whole thing. Let's get into it.
This morning, a globe-trotting teenage activist is speaking out after his arrest during a fundraising trip around the world.
Attempting to become the first person ever to fly all 7 continents solo.
Ethan Guo is 1 year into his flight against cancer, flying from the U.S. to Europe to the Middle East and beyond in hopes of raising $1 million for St. Jude's.
We're officially in Singapore!
But his trip was derailed when his flight from Chile to Argentina took an unexpected turn. Guo telling our Danny New an in-flight emergency forced him to make an unexpected landing on King George Island, a remote area with strict regulations for incoming air traffic.
Everything was good for like an hour. Then they came up to me and then they just told me to follow them. They didn't say a single word. Then they told me I was under arrest. I asked them, what am I under arrest for?
On the ground, Chilean authorities accused him of falsifying flight plans, which could cost him his pilot's license.
It was an international flight plan. It was approved by the Chilean government. I had the official Chilean government stamps. I paid the international fees. I cleared international customs. This was all documented.
Guo was barred from leaving until a judge weighed in on the charges. After more than 40 days of waiting, he struck a deal this week with the Chilean government.
40 days of waiting. He had all the paperwork. He just had to make an emergency stop, and he had to wait. And after that, because of that, he had to wait 40 days for a judge.
Officials agreed to drop the charges if he donated $30,000 to Chile's childhood cancer research program. Guo says he's willing to pay the fine because donating to cancer research was his goal in the first place.
Let's be honest. Is that a shakedown? Was that a shakedown? Yes, it's all going to a good cause, yes. But the only reason he stopped was because of an emergency. And because of the emergency and him landing there, him having to wait 40 days before he could even leave. Then they said, nah, all right, we going to drop it all, but pay $30,000 into the Children's Cancer Fund. See, he's fine with it because he was already raising money for cancer. But to me, that sounds like a shakedown. Is it? Am I the only one thinking that? Is that not what? I don't know, man. Sounds like a shakedown to me. So you can't even have an emergency and land in a place without being shaken down for $30,000. Yes, it's all going to a good cause. It's not the point. He was already donating. He was already planning to donate all the money he made from the videos, or not from the video, from the donations to cancer research. So why? I just don't. Yeah, sounds like a shakedown to me. Is it right? No, I don't think it's right. No, I don't think where he clearly had the documents to say that he was on the route. And because he had an emergency come up, you had to make a surprise landing. I don't think it should have been that big of a deal to where they end up forcing you to pay $30,000 to their cancer research. I don't know. Tell me your thoughts, y'all. Do you think it was a shakedown or not? Do you think it was just, I don't know. What was the fine if he didn't pay or what was going to be the charge if he didn't said no to paying the $30,000 for the cancer research for there? I mean, it's all cancer research, but it still feels like they're forcing his hand. Now, let me know your thoughts. Do you think I'm wrong on this? Do you think it doesn't matter? But that wouldn't have sat right with me. Yes, I probably would have paid it because at the end of the day, my goal was to give to cancer research in the first place. But you're forcing my hand because one, it wasn't like I was just landing there out of nowhere, had no documentation saying that I was going anywhere. He had the proper documentations. He was cleared to fly. He was obviously flying over that area and had to make an emergency stop. But because of that, he was arrested after he landed and then had to spend 40 days he couldn't leave while a judge figured out what to do. And then they came back to, all right, we're fine, but we'll drop the charges if you pay $30,000. Let's hear that one more time.
After more than 40 days of waiting, he struck a deal this week with the Chilean government. Officials agreed to drop the charges if he donated $30,000 to Chile's childhood cancer research program. Guo says he's willing to pay the fine because donating to cancer research was his goal in the first place.
And he is still...
Yeah. That's a shakedown. Come on, let's be honest. That's a shakedown. They said they'll drop the charges. Yeah, we'll drop the charges. Just pay $30,000 to cancer research and we good. It's a shakedown. Is it for a good cause? Yes. But it doesn't change the fact that that sounds like a shakedown to me. It sounds like a shakedown. Would I have paid it? Yes, I probably would have paid it because at the end of the day, $30,000. Yes, I would have paid it $30,000 because it's not like they was like, don't we just give us $30,000 to an official. We don't know. Well, it's a different country, so we don't know what they're going to do with it. But hey, you pay $30,000, we'll drop all the charges. Yeah, you pay $30,000 to cancer research, we'll drop all the charges. Yeah, it sounds crazy to me. It does sound crazy to me. But like I said, tell me your thoughts. Do you think I'm off on this one? Do you not feel it was a shakedown? Or maybe I'm just not understanding. Or does it make it fine that it's a shakedown because it was already going to a good cause? And how do you know it's going to a good cause? Hopefully he could hand it right to and he just didn't have it to give it to an official and be like, here you go, here's that $30,000 check. And he hadn't even raised that much yet for his goal. Hold on. Let's see. We got to back that up because I think he had a goal somewhere. There it is. He's only raised $20,000 for his initial goal. I'm assuming he has some extra money laying around. Yeah, nah, that's a shakedown. That's crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. Yeah, tell me your thoughts, y'all. Like I said, tell me your thoughts on any of the things. Tell me if I'm just wrong on this. Tell me if I'm just wrong. But yeah, that definitely sounds like a shakedown. But speaking of shakedowns, we got to go over to the next topic. We're gonna pivot. A granny was scammed for $17,500. She was scammed out of it's her savings, all her savings, I'm thinking. But we'll get right into the video to explain it. But she was scammed out of $17,500. You have to see, this is where they're coming from. You have to, as the younger generation, we gotta teach our parents. That's something you gotta teach our parents how to look out for these scams, because the newer technologies is making the scams more elaborate. The newer technologies are making the scams more elaborate. But let's jump right into this video. The granny was scammed out of $17,500.
A doorbell camera capturing the moment this Mebane woman says she handed over her savings of $17,500 in cash to a complete stranger.
Every morning I wake up and I'm like,
I just want this nightmare to go away.
This woman who asked us not to name her or show her face for fear of being a target again, but says she wants to share her heartache with hopes of preventing this scam from happening to someone else. It started when she was on her computer trying to log on to her bank account.
I put in my password and username and got to the website, but it wouldn't let me open my accounts.
She grabbed her cell phone and says she went to the number saved in her cell phone for her bank.
She says, oh, your account's been frozen. And I said, why? And she said, well, there was a suspicious charge from PayPal from the day before. And I said, well, I didn't make that.
She says she was transferred to what she thought was a PayPal fraud department, but the call quality was so bad that she ended the call and called a Florida number back. It's not clear how she got that Florida number. On the line with them, she says she was told the charge was for $82, and they said they could refund her, but she had to follow their instructions, which included downloading several things on her computer.
I typed $82. And I immediately looked up to the screen and it says $18,000. And then it goes accept, 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 just like that. And I said to this man, I said, that's wrong. I said, that's not what I typed in. I said, that's a mistake.
At first glance, she says it looked like an extra $18,000 was deposited into her account. In reality, which she didn't know at the time, the scammer just transferred the money from her savings to checking.
What you have to do to fix it is you have to get cash, go to your bank and get cash.
Hesitant to follow his instructions, but she says this letter with a Bank of America logo came out of her printer, stating there's a serious matter concerning your account, an unresolved tax issue related to a personal transaction from PayPal. As a result,
hold on. What you mean? What do you mean it just came out of her printer? So they already hacked in everything to where they just could print that out. They were ready to take her money. These scams be elaborate and you have to watch out. Absolutely crazy.
And account transfers are temporarily blocked by the IRS. The letter goes on to state, we have not notified your local branch. It's crucial you refrain from discussing this transaction with them. Doing so may lead to freezing or seizing all funds in your account.
There is no way that the bank would tell you not to discuss this with your local branch. Come on now. Well, we this is an older woman, so she didn't know. But scammers, they don't care who they take their money from. A granny being her last leg, they take the leg. They do not care. Let's keep going. I'm not going to stop it too much, but
you can see the call with the person lasted over 4 hours.
He kept saying, don't hang up on me, don't hang up.
She did stay on the line for over 4 hours. She drove to her bank and withdrew $17,500. As she says, a man told her she could keep $500 for her troubles.
The bank manager came over and he said, before we proceed, he said, are you being harassed? And I'm like, no, I'm not being pressured, because I didn't think I was. I didn't know I was being scammed.
She says she even signed a document saying she was taking this money out on her own free will. After getting the money, she continued to follow the caller's instructions, drove home. This letter, she says, printed from her printer, thanking her for returning the funds to PayPal, and a Mr. Jack has been assigned to collect the cash. Not long after her doorbell camera catches this man coming to her door to pick up the cash.
Yo.
She handed over the cash, thinking the ordeal is over, and called her daughters to tell them about her long day.
Before I could hardly get this story out of my mouth, I'm like, Mom, you've been scammed.
At first, she thought she was the only victim until she saw this man's mugshot, Lingwei Zhang. She says it's the same guy that came to her door, and she handed over her $17,500. Zhang is charged with obtaining property under false pretenses in her case, and he, along with another suspect, are also facing charges in person.
Come on now, we got to back it up to look at both of them. Let's go. Where are they at? Come on, man. Got two scammers taken from old women, multiple old women probably. Absolutely crazy.
Are also facing charges in person, Durham and Granville counties, of obtaining property under false pretenses, assessing computers, and felony conspiracy. According to the Person County Sheriff, whose department was the first to make the arrest, the two suspects are living in this country without legal permission. The sheriff says they're currently working with the North Carolina SBI and the Department of Homeland Security to identify more victims and suspects. And while the total amount of money scammed is unknown at this time, he says it's close to $400,000.
it never occurred to me that that there was going to be an evil person come into my life.
The financial loss is devastating as a large chunk of the money gone is money she says is from an insurance policy to pay her medical bills when she fought cancer last year.
What I want people to know is just because you're tired that day, don't let your defenses down.
So heartbreaking that she fell for the scam. Now, the suspects are still behind bars at the Person County Detention Center.
Did she get her money?
Investigators say the Department of Homeland Security has detainers in place. When it comes to the victim's bank, Bank of America, a representative told me they're investigating the case and can't comment until their investigation is complete. I'm troubleshooter Diane Wilson, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
At the end of the day, y'all, we have to watch out for our older folks. We got to explain to them how, like, what to look out for a scam. My mom almost got scammed. My mom almost got scammed. They did that whole, you owe tax, you owe a toll violation or something like that to her phone. My mama ain't called nobody. She ain't do nothing. She went to the DMV or went up to the place and was asked them directly, do I owe anything? They said no. My mama told me about it. So my mom, did you send them any? That's the first thing. Did you send them anything? Did you click on any links? She said no. So they love to try to scam the older folks who don't understand technology and who have their defenses down. But that's bold. That's very bold for them to. They hacked into the computer, first of all, to print out letters and everything like that. They said, all right, I'm going to send you something and it prints it out. It prints it out right there or faxes over to them, something like that. Prints it out 2 different letters saying, thanking them for it and then telling them that it's something serious. Then they tell you to stay on the line for 4 hours while she drives to the local bank. Gets out $17,500. They said, nah, you can keep that $500 for your troubles. It's her money. It's her money. And then he pulls up to her house. And she hands him $17,500. You got to be careful. We have to explain to the older generation that they cannot be trusting these people on their phones. You know how many people hit my phone up talking about some crazy stuff? You know what I do? Close my phone. Close the message. Don't even respond. Block it, matter of fact. Absolutely crazy. We got to watch out for our older people, man. Because you don't know how many people they did this to. They said they got over $400,000. That's what they're thinking, around $400,000. You hear about it all the time about grannies getting scammed. Her daughters immediately, before she even finished the story, knew she got scammed. But she didn't think about it. And then she went, that's crazy. Even the bank people asked, are you being harassed to get this money? No, I'm not being harassed. I guess she technically wasn't being, no, she was being harassed. She just didn't feel like she was being harassed. That's a crazy situation, y'all. That's a crazy situation. Now let me know, has any of your parents ever been scammed like that? Not, well, you don't have to be up to that magnitude, but have they been scammed or been close to getting scammed before? Have you been scammed before for any reason like that? People hitting up your phone telling you owe some money. If I owe some money, I'm gonna need a letter, and I'm gonna have to check the number, check the address, look up scams before I send anything. I'm checking to make sure, for I'm 100% facts know that this is not a scam. And then I'm definitely not downloading stuff onto my computer. Download. No, absolutely not. Absolutely crazy, but that's something we have to look at. We have to be sure to take care of just look out for yourselves, y'all, because there are scammers in this world who will take, what did I say? They will take your last leg. You are already standing on your last leg and they're going to take it from you because they don't care who they hurt. They don't care what they do. They just going to take it. And hey, when you ask them, then they're going to laugh at you when you ask it for it back. Absolutely diabolical. Absolutely diabolical. Now we're gonna pivot over into this next thing we're getting into. I was shocked. It said that there's a maternity ward drug dealer. Yeah, I said it right. A maternity ward drug dealer. Now let's get right into it and see what it's talking about. But
thank you, ladies.
Crazy.
A day of highs and lows for one suspected fentanyl dealer who went from a maternity ward to a jail cell. Good evening and welcome to News 2 at 5. I'm Bob Mueller.
And I'm Haley Wilgus. Andy Cordan has more on the arrest coming after a multi-agency narcotics investigation.
This story begins in April. That's when members of the 18th Judicial Drug Task Force get a tip about a drug dealer they call a major player in Middle Tennessee.
That is also fentanyl.
On July 30th,
more fentanyl.
Drug agents with the 18th Judicial Drug Task Force,
some ammunition, an extended magazine,
the THP, and Metro Police.
He was also a user, yes.
Execute 5 search warrants simultaneously on homes associated with Jordan Sandifer.
Right there is the bag of fentanyl that was on Jordan Sandifer's person.
According to drug agents, on the day of the raids, Sandifer is at a Nashville hospital for the birth of his child. Investigators tell me when he was arrested in the maternity ward, the 28-year-old had this large bag of fentanyl in his pocket. How concerning is that to you as a father?
That's extremely concerning. Somebody walking through the hospital where my kids could potentially be at with a very large amount of lethal fentanyl in his pocket.
After all the homes are searched, this is the end result. You're looking at 200.
Wow, hold on. We got to back that up. We have to back that up. That was a crazy. Hold on. Where is that? Where's that image at? There it is. That is wild. You got guns, bags of fentanyl. I'm assuming that's marijuana, cash, just sprawl. See, they love to do that. I'm happy they got him off the street, but I will say the cops love to have that picture, man. They'll spread it all out on the desk. They'll be like, oh yeah, this is what we did today, and then take that picture. Absolutely. And he had that in the maternity ward. What if it would have fell out his pocket and somebody would have picked it up? A kid. Some people don't care.
You're looking at 200 grams of fentanyl, 51 pounds of pot, 5 weapons, including 3 that are stolen, and close to $8,500 in cash.
We would consider him probably a mid-level to wholesale level dealer. He's definitely not bringing it in across the border, but he's bigger than just street level sales.
Jordan Sandifer is no stranger to police. According to multiple Metro Police reports, Sandifer's arrest history includes drugs and weapons charges. And in 2022, Metro Police indicate that a police helicopter tracked him running from the law in a Dodge Charger at more than 120 miles an hour.
They love that Dodge Charger, man. They love the Dodge Charger. Trying to hit the race. They said that he had how many ounces? Hold on, let's go back. Let's back it up a tad bit. He had how many ounces of fentanyl?
Multiple Metro Police reports. Sandifer's arrest history includes drugs and weapons charges. And in 2022, Metro Police indicate that a police helicopter tracked him running.
We didn't go back far enough. Hold on.
It could potentially be at with a very large amount of lethal fentanyl in his pocket.
After all the homes are searched, this is the end result. You're looking at 200 grams of fentanyl, 51 pounds of pot, 5 weapons, including 3 that are stolen, and close to $8,500 in cash.
We would consider.
Now, we looked at it before. Go back and look at our other videos. But the lethal dose of fentanyl is 2 milligrams. And he had 51 grams of it. 51 grams. Absolutely crazy.
Consider him probably a mid-level to wholesale level dealer. He's definitely not bringing it in across the border, but he's bigger than just street level sales.
Jordan Sandifer is no stranger to police. According to multiple Metro Police reports, Sandifer's arrest history includes drugs and weapons charges. And in 2022, Metro Police indicate that a police helicopter tracked him running from the law in a Dodge Charger at more than 120 miles an hour.
So the big takeaway, I think, from this is we recovered a large amount of fentanyl off the streets that's going to hopefully potentially save lives, as well as numerous firearms that could potentially save lives as well.
Jordan Sandifer is facing many drug charges. He's also looking at possession of a firearm and the commission of a dangerous felony. Andy Cordan, News 2.
End of the day. What do I think should happen? So, like I've said this before. People who sell fentanyl and do these kind of crazy things deserve to be in bars. For how long? I mean, honestly, let them stay in there. Let's be honest. Let them stay in there. You mean to tell me this man had fentanyl in the maternity ward? In the maternity ward, he had fentanyl in his pocket, chilling, not caring what could happen. A lethal dose of fentanyl. Somebody can't imagine accidentally dropped out of his pocket and somebody pick it up. Somebody pick it up, then something happened. I don't know what could happen. Worst case is a kid pick it up and just, kids like to put things in their mouth and they just try to eat it. Think it's candy. I'm happy they caught him because he deserves to be behind bars. He deserves to be behind bars for life. Let's be honest. He deserves to be behind bars for life. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now, like I said, tell me your thoughts. Do you think I'm wrong on this one? Do you think I'm totally missing the mark? Imagine you are at the maternity ward and you hear about somebody being arrested and they had fentanyl in their pocket in the maternity ward. Absolutely crazy, y'all. It's a cold world we live in, and there are some sick people who don't care. Selling fentanyl is some of the worst things you can do. Some of the worst things you can sell, just how deadly it is. Like I said before, they deserve to be in prison. They deserve to be in prison. Absolutely crazy. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you said anything wrong. Let me know how you feel about people who sell fentanyl. How do you feel about people who sell fentanyl? He had 52 grams when the lethal dose is, I think it's 2 milligrams. 2 milligrams. It might be 0.2 milligrams. Well, I can't remember off the right top of my head what was on that video, but absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. Now we got pivot over to somebody else who deserves to be in jail for life. We're going to go right over into a Lyft driver sexually assaults a passed out passenger. Yes, I said it. A Lyft driver sexually assaults a passed out passenger. Let's jump right into it and see this disgusting individual.
I'm Boston 25 News reporter Daniel Coates outside Somerville District Court, where a Lyft driver pled not guilty to serious charges of assault and battery and rape of one of his passengers over the weekend.
Matter of Luis Ramos Texera.
The 27-year-old from Brockton walked into court handcuffed and behind glass, facing disturbing allegations from this weekend.
This is an incident that involves an act of stranger violence, and notably there is an allegation of specifically a sexual assault of that stranger.
The Lyft driver is accused of picking up a woman in Boston, claiming in court documents she was having a drink with friends and coworkers after work at the Lenox on Exeter Street before calling a Lyft around 2:30 in the morning. The last thing she remembered, police reported, was getting into the back seat of the Lyft and later waking up in the back seat with her head resting on that driver's lap. She also noticed her bra was missing and her pants were unzipped. She reportedly woke up 90 minutes later here on Canal Lane in Somerville, rushing outside while Texera drove away. Police claim he was there with her for over an hour. She says she wasn't offered anything to drink or eat in that car, but she had a glass of champagne at work before she left and only one dirty martini at the Lenox bar. She stated no one strange to her approached her there. The woman was treated at Cambridge Hospital while police worked with Lyft to identify Luis Carlos Ramos Texera, matching him to his white Honda CRV and working profile picture. He pled not guilty to charges of rape and assault and battery Monday.
Court has ordered that you be detained without bail pending a dangerousness hearing.
Monday evening, Lyft told me in a statement that this behavior is reprehensible and has no place in their community. In the meantime, they've banned Texera from all platforms and are willing to help in this investigation as it moves forward. On scene in Somerville, I'm Daniel Coates for your local station, Boston 25 News.
Now, first thing, we got it. We know we have to pull up his picture. We have to. See, there's several questions. How did she pass out? She said that she had a glass of wine. Hold on. She said she had a dirty martini and she had some champagne. Was somebody watching her? And is this the actual Lyft driver that she ordered? There's several questions. Then she said she woke up with her head in his lap, her bra gone, her pants unzipped. This is one nasty individual. One nasty individual. Golly, let's we got to see if there's any more information on the web. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, this one is it. Let's get into it. Yeah, we gotta have. Yeah, let's get right over into this article that we found and see if we can tell any more information about it. So, a rideshare driver accused of sexually assaulting a passenger in Massachusetts has been arrested. They said that Monday identified a 27-year-old Luis Carlos Ramos Texera. I'm not even going to apologize for saying the name wrong. Of Brockton was arrested on Sunday. Police in Somerville spoke with an adult woman at the hospital Friday after she disclosed that she had been sexually assaulted. Authorities identified Texera as the suspect. Texera is accused of picking up the woman up at a location in Boston, bringing her home in Somerville. He allegedly sexually assaulted her in the backseat of the car when hold on, this might be a totally different, oh my God. This might be a totally different guy. So many nasty. Hold on. Hold on. Is this the same man? Hold on. Let's see if this is the same man. If it is, let's go into it. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Let's pull it up. Let's get this one out. Let's see.
I'm Boston 25 News reporter Daniel Coates outside Somerville District Court, where a Lyft driver pled not guilty to serious charges.
Okay, this is, I'm about to say, I thought it was another one. At first. I was about to be disgusted with the world. I'm still disgusted with the world, but golly, okay. So what do we say? Okay, so Somerville, 27, has been charged with rape or sexual assault on battery on a person over 14. The defendant Lyft driver is alleged to have sexually assaulted the female over the weekend. On August 9th, the Somerville responded to a local hospital to speak with a woman who's disclosed that she's been sexually assaulted by the Lyft driver. Gotta get more. After the interview with the victim, the police was able to identify the suspect as I'm not even gonna say his name again. Texera was allegedly alleged to have picked up the victim at a Boston location and brought her home to Somerville, where he allegedly got into the back seat of the vehicle and sexually assaulted the victim. On Sunday, August 10th, detectives, along with members of the Massachusetts State Police Department and the Brockton Police, located him in Brockton, where he was arrested on a warrant. He was arraigned today in the Somerville District Court in order to be held without bail pending a dangerous hearing, pending a dangerousness hearing scheduled for Friday. Absolutely crazy. So he got into the back seat. Oh my God. When they arrived, the behavior described is reprehensible and has no place in the Lyft community. Of course, they're going to say that. A Lyft spokesman said Monday that we have been in touch with the rider to offer our support. They love to offer their support, but they ain't going to do nothing. Well, they might. I'm not even going to. So they might do something. They might give them, they'll probably give some free rides, but that's crazy. And was taken into custody Sunday. Yep. Over 14. So why is it? I don't understand. That law is crazy to me. They said it's sexual assault, indecent assault, and battery on a person over 14. Why? What's the distinctions between 13 and 14? That's just a question I got. What's the distinction between 13 and 14? I would see it like maybe like maybe their age and consent laws or something like that. Hold on, let's see. Let's see. Quick. Okay, so it has nothing to do with the age of consent. The age of consent is 16. So yeah, I have no idea what's the distinction between from 13 to 14. Why it's over 14, so 14 to 15. I don't know, but that is a despicable human being. And what did I say? Anybody who sexually assaults or trafficking, kidnaps women, children, men, anything like that, who do those kind of crazy crimes, where do we say they need to go, y'all? Where do we say? They need to be in jail for life. And after they are in jail, their ashes need to be put inside the cell. There should be a whole ward just with the ashes of these nasty individuals. A whole ward filled with these nasty individuals' ashes. So their soul can stay in there. But absolutely crazy. Now, the last topic we're going to get into is about a DC man. A DC man. So let's go over into that. A DC man who has been freed repeatedly after being accused of sexual assault. Or I don't know what all happened, but it seems like after he was accused back in a few years ago, accused of sexual assault, might have been guilty of sexual assault. He was charged, was freed repeatedly after several instances. So let's get right over into that video and see what the lady's talking about. We're listening to a survivor where she went on the news. So let's get right into it and see what it all is talking about.
Our next guest was attacked in Washington back in 2020. She had to move out of the city. Her attacker, though, was arrested 5 more times. And guess what? The courts just kept setting him free. Anna Giratelli is a reporter for the Washington Examiner. She's joining us now live. Anna, first of all, thank you for joining us live on the show. I know how difficult this is, and I hate to make you live this all over again. But if you could just share with our viewers, take us back to 2020 on that day when you were just running an errand. What happened to you?
Yeah, I left my apartment next to Union Station to go to the post office and mail a package. Walked out of the building in sweats and was about a block down the street on 2nd Street Northeast when a man lunged at me and in the process sexually assaulted me. And fortunately, my screaming, he was also screaming. I was screaming for help, and the people didn't hear me and ran over. And so they were able to get him off me, and he got away that day. But thanks to DNA evidence that the police collected from me, They were able to see that he was in the system and then arrested him on the street a few months later and determined that he was homeless, living in a tunnel close to my apartment building, and arrested
probably
him,
watching her.
only for him to be released and rearrested 5 times and re-released the next day.
Well, I want to ask you about that because going through something like that has to be so traumatic, but then to see someone that attacked you get arrested time and time again and then just be set free without anything ever changing. Right now, what we're seeing is this narrative being pushed by city officials, by the police chief, that crime is down. They keep putting statistics out there. But you wrote that if you look for evidence of your attack in the DC crime stats, you won't find it. Why?
Yeah, the man who attacked me was convicted. He went to federal prison for what he did to me that day. And there is nothing on the DC police crime cards page. It's where they track stats, all types of felonies, including sex abuse, which was what he was convicted of.
Are you telling me that they are deleting crime records? We just mentioned that a little while ago. So you can't find any evidence of the crime, but he was arrested, charged, and put in. Oh my God! Hold on. Let's back that up a tad bit.
The man who attacked me was convicted. He went to federal prison for what he did to me that day. And there is nothing on the DC police crime cards page. It's where they track stats, all types of felonies, including sex abuse, which was what he was convicted of. They're not putting stats on there for sex abuse unless it is a first degree, which would be rape, or it is a certain second degree crime. Other degrees are not being added to that list. And so for myself and countless other victims, we don't know how many there are, and we don't know, why the city isn't putting that up there. Certainly people have opinions, but all we know is that what happened to me is not up there, and there's far more, obviously, than just myself.
So you didn't go through enough pain for the city to recognize you.
That is wild.
That's what it felt like, to have him released on the street as many times as happened made me feel like I was crazy. To think, does this not seem like a bad idea? He got caught once outside yielding a machete. And to think that's not a public threat, to think that his safety, not overcrowding the DC jail was, when the U.S. Attorney's Office told me, more of a concern than having him come back out into the street and be held in jail during COVID. But, yeah.
I want to ask you what you think about the federal takeover, but if you can, listen with me here to this DC resident who is complaining about it and saying that it's disgusting. Listen.
It hurts me to my core that our president is making our service people, sorry, I'm so emotional. This is disgraceful. I come here every day. I never feel unsafe. This is an act, and putting women of color, making these people have these as their work orders, it's disgusting. And for what? For what?
Anna, what's your take?
Yeah, I was attacked right outside that very building, so I certainly have a different take than she does. Look, DC is not a state. It's not a normal jurisdiction. The president has authority. He's acting within his authority, and if it's challenged, the courts will get to the bottom of that. But, President Trump has said on Monday that he's taking action to improve the city's safety, and we'll see if it comes to fruition.
Anna, are you doing okay now?
I'm doing great. Yeah, I've relocated. Work is great. The Examiner has really treated me really well through all of this and helped me through it. So thank you.
There are always people there to help. Anna, thanks for joining us and sharing your story. It's important.
Hey, everyone.
Absolutely crazy. They said he was released 5 times. One time he was wielding a machete and he just gets out. I've said this before in prior videos. If they do, I just don't understand. Man, I don't know, man. If they appear to be a danger to the public, which it sounds like he is, he attempted to sexually assault a woman or did sexually assault her. They found his DNA on her. He's outside wielding a machete. He was obviously stalking her because he said he lived in a tunnel near her house. Absolutely crazy, y'all. Absolutely. I don't know how you feel about Trump and him doing the sending more police to the state of DC, or not state of DC, to DC. But I don't know, man. If crime is that bad, then I don't see a problem with it. But it's crazy. The main thing that I am concerned about is that this man was freed repeatedly after sexually assaulting a woman in 2020. Repeatedly. I would think that you get in trouble again, you would be locked up. But no, 4 other times, 5 other times. I might have misheard her, but it sounded like, oh my God. Absolutely crazy. Tell me your thoughts on that. Do you agree with that whole situation? Do you think they had a reason for him to be let back out on the streets? I'm assuming they had a reason. They gave a reason, but is it an appropriate reason? Is it an appropriate reason for him to be put back on the streets? Absolutely crazy. I'm glad that I am absolutely happy that the reporter asked her, how is she doing? Because we can't forget about the victims. We cannot forget about, they're telling their stories, but we have to show concern for what she went through. God, we have to show concern for what she went through. But that is crazy and absolutely wild. Now, that is it for the show today. Like I always say, tell me if I said anything you disagree with. Let's have a discussion about it. Am I completely off on one of these, on what I've said? Am I not looking at the stuff hard enough? Tell me so we can have. I want y'all feedback on what is happening. Do you disagree? Do you agree? Comment. Tell me what you're thinking. Let's have a civilized discussion on how and what we're seeing. Because at the end of the day, no matter how crazy the world is, what do I say? We have to review the world together, y'all. We have to review the world together. But thank you for watching. Thank you for watching later. Thank you for tuning in. Like always, these videos will be broken down. And if you see some videos that you want me to review, my email is in my description. It's the same as my account name. AC Reviews the World. A dot after the A and a dot after the C. Send it to me. acreviewstheworld@gmail.com. Send me the videos so we can discuss it. If you have your thoughts, send it to me and we can discuss it and tune in so we can talk about it. Yeah, I am never opposed to talking about something. I'm never going to say that I am 100% correct, because I feel like, just as an engineer in general, that you need to do your own research. Just as a person who is highly adamant about people doing their own research and not just listening to people. Do your own research on the stuff. Tell me if I'm saying something wrong. And if I said something wrong, I will say it again. I will in a comment. As soon as you tell me and I look it up and I agree with it, yeah, I would say it in the comments. I will comment and reply to it and say, yes, thank you for the feedback. I'm not trying to be in an echo chamber. I want to hear what your thoughts are. But like I said, thank you for watching. You already know I got to play the outro before we get out of here. But thanks for everything. Hope you have a good weekend. And we'll be back on Tuesday at 6 a.m. Be ready, because the early bird catches the worm. So we got to get up and be ready and to review some stuff. So everybody have a good weekend. And hey, peace.